Welcome back to the D.H.E show, where we talk about building empires without sacrificing on bedtime stories. Because what is the point of building these empires, of building these companies, of creating all of this awesomeness in our lives if we're not bringing our family along with us? Today's episode, it's a little different than what we normally do. Most shows we talk about 2 to 4 things that you can implement today in your business. We also have another format where we recap the prior month's results. And today we are recapping December 2023 for Switchback Foods. What did we learn? What were a couple really cool positive things that we saw happen in the month? What were a couple challenges that we faced? And just a general sense of how the business is doing. The whole point of these shows, of the business reviews, is to help the new entrepreneur or the somewhat new entrepreneur in the e-commerce direct-to-consumer space understand what does it actually take to build a business to do what we're trying to do here. And we just put it all out there. And that is, it's our way of giving back and helping inspire and help teach and train people on what we've learned, where we screwed up, where we've seen success, and hopefully things that you can take and implement into your business as well. Would absolutely appreciate so much if you could do us 2 things. Since we are giving all of this away for free, we don't run ads, we don't pay for anything. We would love your help in sharing the show and getting the message out there. If you know an e-commerce person or someone in the D2C direct-to-consumer space that maybe is new, is thinking about joining this crazy world, send them our podcast and get them into the mix and, spread the love, I guess. And secondly, if you could leave us a review, man, we would just really, really appreciate it. It's our way of hearing what are we doing good, what are we not doing good on. It's how the algorithms and the platforms and everything understand if this is good content or not. And we think we're good, but hey, we don't know until we hear from you guys. So without further ado, we're going to jump into December 2023 for Switchback Foods. Here we go.
Welcome back to the D.H.E show. It is early January, and we are going to cover our December business update. December was a totally awesome month in the world of Switchback. Now,
why?
Well, we had our best month ever in sales.
2 months in. Well,
I mean, no,
6 months in, but
no. But hold on. That's a really good point. Is when you're born, you kind of have to say like, yes, I'm a month older. I'm 2 years old. Like you can't really lie about that. For all intents and purposes, Matt, we are. I tell people this, like our first 4 months in business, it was really just like a dumpster fire that we had to put out with highly toxic chemicals and like spray down, and like it was nasty. And then all of a sudden, we got this, we got reinvigorated. We got this massive hit of oxygen and an IV stuck in our arm. And we came back as like a superhero because those first 4 months just sucked. And they were bad and bad vendors, bad partners, bad everything. And now we're doing everything to our knowledge right. And so December was a month where sales went up and up and up, and good things happened from that front. I also think it was a good month, Matt, from you and I, and we'll dive into this more in depth, but I think it's a really good thing from our perspective. Like we got a lot hammered out, Matt, where you and I, we had a lot of terse discussions. We got into a lot of arguments, but a lot of that stuff moved the ball forward in a positive way,
right? Which
is really good. I mean, we could have been the stereotypical Minnesotan passive aggressive, like could go home like, Carly, you would never believe it. Matt is such an asshole. But that doesn't do anything for the business. So we can jump into that. But Matt, let's jump in. I know, like I said, we had a great month.
What do you think? Give me the top thing you're most happy about from December 2023.
Matt, that's a terrible question to ask me. Because
you got to pick one.
Top thing I'm excited about. Yeah. We have 3 co-packers identified that can actually package our product and not screw it up. That's the thing I'm most excited about from December of 2023. How about you?
I think I'm most excited about the fact that we're actually getting traction with our marketing and that we are driving people to the website and we are converting. We're not just getting eyeballs for eyeballs' sake. We're actually getting people who are potential, relevant, good customers. That makes me very excited.
That and that is awesome. And I like that's why December was awesome. We got we like doubled our email list, right?
Yeah.
Our sales doubled over the month before.
So here, I'll give a couple stats. Sales for the month of December versus October, because we don't have year over year yet, so we're just going month over month. Sales were up 139% over the prior month. Now, what's super interesting is that you've got Christmas and you've got New Year's Eve. So those are 2 days that people just are not really shopping. So those were zeros. Well, Christmas was a zero. So take that out of the mix.
Well, hold on. Like they're before you go any further, it was really interesting because all of our vendors who we work with I think they're great and they've done great things for us so far. But they all said the same thing, like, "Hey, man, December's not going to be a good month for you."
Yeah.
But yet we had the best month we've ever had, which I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's really.
Well, I think we'll see next year, right? This year, I guess, on if that's true or not. Because in fairness, November was kind of our first month actually spending our full amount on marketing, and then December was full spend. So I would expect it to be higher, but 140% higher is pretty sweet.
Absolutely.
Also, super encouraging is that we started to get sales out of Facebook/Instagram Shop, which is essentially you're getting people to buy on the platform itself versus go to your website. There's pros and cons to it, but if your product is compelling enough and the message you're putting out is compelling enough to get them to buy it right there on Instagram, I take that as a huge win. That you're stopping people right then and there, convince them to make a purchase, which tells me that the ads are working, the user generated content is working, like it's starting to resonate with people in a much better way. So that was super cool. We have subscriptions kicking in. So one of the cool things about the product is that people can buy it on subscription, which automatic every 30 days, 45 days, 90 days, depending on the plan that you want. Kind of set it and forget it. That's fantastic. We're not a one-time buy, which, is the goal. As a health and wellness or just a good food company, you hope that people would want to buy over and over and over. But we're seeing that come through. So those are two really cool channels that we're starting to see some traction in.
Yeah, I mean, the subscription item is really shocking to me too, is how many people are buying it on subscription up front, which isn't any cheaper. So it's like, I don't know, like I get a little bit confused by that.
It's a little. Like 5% discount on subscription?
Yeah, but you get a 10% discount if you just give us your email address, right? Your first order, you get 10%. So the fact that people are signing up for subscription as well is interesting. But I mean, totally cool. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I've been shocked by the amount of subscriptions up front.
What else is super interesting to talk about? I think we're still figuring out. I'll talk a little bit on the social media side and the marketing side. We're still figuring out what that actually looks like for us because. If you're new to e-com, if you're new to direct-to-consumer, if you're new to this world, it takes quite a few months for any platform that you're on to sort of figure out who to serve your stuff up to, which is good because you don't want to serve ads to people who are not relevant buyers at all. But it is a process, and it takes 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, depending on your product, to sort of find your people. And so,
Matt, do you think that we're at a point where we have enough sales where we're not honed in, we're not perfect, but do you think it's better than it was a month and a half, 2 months ago?
Oh, by far. What we did in December, which is a little cheaper, tip for someone new here, is we focused on the add to cart metric. So basically, I didn't know this until a month ago, but Google and Facebook and all of these platforms are smart enough to know, first of all, who's interested in your product. Okay, then they're smart enough to know who's interested in your product, but they're not quite ready to buy, but they're interested enough to go to your website and add it to cart.
Yep.
And then there's the third bucket. They're interested in your product and they're ready to buy. Now, the ready to buy people, they're really expensive. Those ads cost a lot of money to serve up. So if you can target people in the middle, which like your product, they're willing to engage with you, they're willing to add it to their cart, but they're not probably going to do the full purchase. As long as you have an email sequence and you've got a way to stay in touch with those people and keep up with them, that middle bucket's sweet. It's a really good way to start finding people to add them in a cheaper way. And to your question, it helps the algorithm learn who here is interacting with the product, and more of your budget goes to more people if you go with that add to cart type option. Do I think we're fully there? On the add to cart, yes. Facebook would say we are fully there. We are fully optimized. They know exactly who to serve stuff up if we want to get more people to add to cart. And now what we're progressing into is, okay, Facebook, get fully optimized for people that are ready to actually buy. That one takes a few more months.
Which, by the way, for someone who's not a digital media or social media digital expert, this is some confusing shit. I mean, it probably took me asking Matt at least 10, 15 times to explain this to me. Like, what does this mean? What does it mean? So don't be discouraged if you don't understand what we're talking about, or if you're working with a firm and you don't, just ask questions, because the people on the other end on the digital marketing and the social, like they're brilliant. You just gotta work with them and trust them, and things.
But make sure that they actually understand the platform that you're trying to work on.
Yes,
I will throw out that caveat. There are 1,000 digital marketing agencies out there. There are 1,000 companies. There's tens of thousands of companies that will tell you that they can do ads and they can do this stuff for you. Fine. Do they really understand the nuances, and do they really understand how to maximize each campaign? If they do, great. Let them go. Right.
So,
those are usually people who will say Facebook preferred, like they have Meta status. I don't know the exact word, or Google status, or TikTok. Their TikTok verified shop, or whatever. They don't have to have that, but if they do have those things, that means they do a lot of business on those platforms, and they probably know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you hit a lot of stuff. I'm just like it's like you stuck a knife in me though, because I remember we worked at the firm like we're a Facebook preferred vendor, and like by the way, I was thinking about this, like I think like 3% of marketing agencies are Facebook preferred or Facebook whatever. I mean, that sounds really cool, but when you realize there's literally probably hundreds of thousands of digital marketing agencies out there, it just essentially means that these people are large. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. So put that in your toolkit. Don't take what everybody says at face value. Actually understand, because we could have saved ourselves a lot of money had we actually understood that.
Not only the money part. Again, if you're new to this, if you've been doing this for a while, you totally understand what I'm going to say next. But if you're new getting into this, or you're a few months in, it takes a few months for things to start clicking. So not only did we lose the money, right, of just spending on something, but we also lost the time, because
4 months.
We're able to go back, to June, July, May, whenever it was that we started spending. And if we were that much further along in our journey, it would have set us up better for what we expected January to be the biggest month of the year. And January, I think, is still going to be really good for us. But January for our industry is like king. It's enormous.
But I also think the other thing too, Matt, is there are some other things that went hand in hand with that. So it's okay. And it's a learning experience. Yeah. We're putting one foot in front of the other. We're moving forward. And I'm totally stoked about what we got going on. But don't let that, yes, we had some unfortunate mishaps, but we also had some more unfortunate mishaps that we're going to do a whole entire episode on here in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
And it's going to be me really pissed off and ranting about stuff. But trust me, you're going to want to listen to that one, because if you're going to start a business, you are going to want to hear what I have to say about that.
Yeah. Well, on that vein then, and we don't have to go into those topics yet, because I know, we're not even supposed to talk about one of them, but give me, what are you disappointed about in December? Like, what was man, that sucked, or that didn't work how we thought it would?
I don't know, Matt, if I have any real disappointments from December where I was bummed out or upset. If anything, an oversight on my behalf meant that we delayed shipping some items for about a week because I missed something. That's on me. I'm disappointed in myself because I screwed up. Didn't cost us any sales, didn't really do any damage, but that's probably the biggest disappointment, was just the fact that I should have known better and I screwed something up.
That's fair.
How about you?
Well, we'll just say it was a learning opportunity. I think this whole UGC, this user generated content stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's fascinating. We just last week had a really great experience with some user generated content. We had a I guess influencer, if that's the right word to use for, like he posted something and it was so much engagement. And I'm 99% sure like literally drove sales right then and there. And then we had some others that posted stuff and got absolute crickets. The numbers look great. Supposedly engagements or impressions were enormous, but literally not one comment on it. And if you dig a little deeper, you look at their page and it's like, oh, okay, this person is full of shit. So this whole UGC world is like, we have an agency helping us and they bring us the people and they vet them and they give us the statistics, but we as the brand, you've got to dig even deeper in. Like remember there's that one person, Oli, where I was like, dude, their numbers are fine, but look at their comments. It's all fake.
We could do a whole podcast on that, but I'll give a very interesting overview on this because this was actually I think in December, early December probably, where you brought this to my attention. But this is kind of funny. We had someone bring us an influencer, and I looked at the dude's Instagram. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like resonates. It's unique, but I didn't really dig any deeper. So I was like, hey, I'm cool with it, but the fee seems absurd. Matt comes back and he's like, yeah, like this doesn't really sit right with us. And so, like, I don't know, it was like, I want to say it was like 9:15, 9:30 at night. Matt calls me, and you know, Matt's a night owl. I'm usually in bed by 9:15, and I'm like, so Matt's like, dude, I gotta explain this to you. So he pulls up, we both pull up Instagram, we click on this guy's profile.
He's got like 80,000 followers.
Yeah, 85,000. And he tells me, he's like, Oli, you got to like click on this post. I'm clicking on the post. I'm like, why? Like, see 55 comments. He goes, look at the comments. And so I start clicking at these comments, and it's like every comment out, the first 2 or 3, maybe 4 are legit. And then after that, it's like, fire, bro. Awesome, bro. Can't live without this, bro. And they all got like heart faces and shit like that.
And the names are like, where the hell did this account name even come from?
Exactly. And then Matt's like, well, click on these accounts. So you click on the account, it's got 35,000 followers.
And they're all locked.
And they're all locked, which, as Matt pointed out, what was the thing you pointed out to me? If you've got 35,000 followers and your account's locked, why might that be a red flag?
Because if I had 35,000 followers, I would be out trying to post shit for people and like grow. You can't get 35,000 people on a private account. How? How are people seeing your shit?
Bingo.
It's not real. And
so that was one of them. And then the other piece was the variance. So every single post of this guy's got between 2,200 and 2,500 likes.
Exactly. Like clockwork.
It was plus or minus like probably like 2 to 3%. Whereas the guy that we just did a collaboration with, his name's Sizer on Instagram. You go look at his stuff. He has posts with 15, 20,000 likes. He's got posts with 1,000 likes. Every single post varies dramatically. And it's like, I mean, it's scary. So what we realized was you have to be highly scrutinous of these people because there's a lot of, I mean, I think it's fair, Matt, to say there's a lot of scammers on Instagram that build up these fake followers. And when you're getting $1,000 a post, you're making 2 posts a week. I mean, do the math. That's $100,000 a year for scamming the shit out of brands.
Yeah.
So if you're going to build a brand and you're going to be on Instagram or these other things, look at the comments, look at the likes, dig in, and see if this is actually real. Because I'm pretty blown away by how much this stuff just appears to be absolutely fake out there.
Yeah, that was a big learning for me, and it's so much of a learning that it's gotten to the point where, you know, we're probably going to pause on UGC right now because we've had some really great stuff. Like we've had some wonderful people that we've worked with so far, and I'm really happy with a lot of it. But we've had 2 where I was like, oh man, should have caught that one.
Perfect. Anything else on the business update for December?
Did you all notice how Oli just got distracted and did something on his computer?
Yeah, I did. Got distracted again.
This is my life. Every time I'm talking to Oli, is
not every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Oh,
you know what?
Sorry. Are you talking to me still?
I am. No, the best was it this morning you were talking to me?
No, it was yesterday.
Now I know what it's like to be my wife.
It was yesterday. I said, Get off your computer and look at me. I felt like I was talking to my 9-year-old.
Well, but admittedly, Matt, yesterday, I turned the computer off, turned and faced you, and I was like, dude, I'm going to pay attention. And I just got distracted by looking at how many of my, I got distracted looking at my whiteboard going, oh gosh, we got a problem here. What else from December? I mean, December was a big month. Is there anything?
Oh, yeah. We got 2 milestones that I think they're milestones for us.
What are the 2 milestones?
So we crossed 1,000 subscribers on our email list, which was sweet. So again, we don't know this for fact, but everyone I work with and all the companies and brands that I work with in my real big boy job say email is the #1 way to grow e-com company. Now, they have hundreds of thousands of people on their email list, but once you build that list, it is invaluable. They're your people, right? So we crossed 1,000, and we crossed 1,000 followers on Instagram, which, I think is kind of cool. We have actual engagement, like people that follow us that actually like our stuff.
I'm amazed, by the way, at how important you've run through the numbers of when we send out an email, what percentage of those convert. It's mind-boggling to me. But I also say, on a funny side note, I get an abundance of emails from people like, we can increase your ROI by 300% on emails, and we can get you $300,000 a month in sales and emails. And I'm like, dude, you are an idiot. Have you if we did $300,000 a month in email sales, yeah, that'd be crazy because that's definitely not even. It'd be like a 500% growth. But my point is, it's fascinating to me how powerful email is and how much control it's. Matt, we use Klaviyo, and it's $100 a month. I have no idea, but so there's a cost to it. But to send an email costs us nothing other than our time.
And here's my stance on email. I kind of was it Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Wasn't that Uncle Ben that said that to him?
I thought that was Kennedy.
No, I think it was Spider-Man. I feel that with email. If you're gonna give us your email address, I really do mean this. We're gonna treat it with respect. We're not gonna spam you with a bunch of bullshit. Definitely not gonna sell the information or just get the email for the sake of email. We really want to talk to people, and the emails we're putting out there, it is Switchback related, of course. It says Switchback on it, but it's more here's 5 things that we think are really important right now, or here's our favorite gadget that Oli can't live without. We're trying to just give good stuff to people that they can engage with and be like, oh, I'm glad I opened that today. That was helpful. That was beneficial. Oh, by the way, okay, maybe I do need another thing of Switchback. Sure, I'll go buy some.
Yeah, I like that. If we're not adding value to someone's life with our emails, then we shouldn't be sending emails. And I'm not a huge fan of just sending an email just try and sell something. We genuinely want to be a valued part of your life and be there to assist you and help you. And so I think that's why email to me is such an interesting platform too, is we can do that, right? We've shared some of our favorite things and some of our favorite items that we bought. And hopefully that resonates and we continue to see email subscriber growth.
Yep, bingo. And back to the whole YouTube, or not YouTube, but the Facebook and ads and all the different things you can do. We did just start a new Facebook ad campaign 3 days ago that is focused on specifically growing email. So it's a leads capture email campaign. And super, super early, but right now it's about $1 conversion. So we've added, I think, 36 people to the email list in the last 3 days.
Holy moly.
And it's cost us $36 or something like that, which I'm assuming is good. We'll find out. I'll give you an update in a couple weeks on if that's actually good or not. But if the average value, at some point we'll understand what is the average value of a subscriber, and it'll just be simple math. If it costs X dollars to get somebody and we know that we convert X amount of them. This is why I love digital marketing. To me, I'm a big numbers and analytics guy. That's all this is. It's test and learn. Put a bunch of shit out there, good shit, content. Figure out what works and what doesn't. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't work quickly and quadruple down on the stuff that does.
You know what? There's a great lesson there. Don't focus on trying to improve what doesn't work. Focus on what works.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm a retail guy, right? I've spent most of my career at Target or Super Value, Albertson, big, giant grocery stores. You cannot beat, you have to get it right. When you're putting product in a grocery store, on the shelf, and it's going to sit there for months and months and months, you have better get it right, or it is going to sit there and you're going to throw it away. Digital marketing is not like that at all. You just test and learn and test and learn and test and learn and test and learn.
Yeah, my final comment on that, because I think it's crazy, is a friend of mine, very successful, owned a number of businesses, had a big company. He said to me, he's like, if you're not testing and learning every day, you shouldn't be in e-commerce. He goes, test and learn, look at the data. So we were talking, I'm like, yeah, we get a lot of people that buy at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. He goes, within 6 months, when you have enough data, he goes, look at where 90%, 80% of the purchases are happening. Double down on that time. He goes, don't run ad spend all day. Run it at, try running it from 7 to 9 o'clock at night. See what happens the next week. Run it from, which is awesome, because I think we're doing that. And it's great feedback. Like test and learn, and double down.
Yep.
Matt, I think it's probably fair to say, no big brand became a big brand just by happenstance. They all were strategic.
Yeah. I listened to a super interesting podcast the other day. The dude's a creative director for some big agency now, but he came from Lululemon, and he was the director of creative for Lululemon in Europe. And he said, if you think this test and learn concept of digital, it's huge. But he goes, think about any, like the heyday of media, Mad Men, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. You feel like, or it seemed like there was one brain that was like, I got the idea and I got the thing and I'm going to do it. But really, they only knew that stuff because even back then, it was test and learn. It just was a different way of doing it. They would do a big campaign. Did it work? Sweet. Take things from that, add it to the next thing. It was never like just pure creative out of nowhere. Everything is always built on some experience that happened, good or bad.
I think, the epitome of that was, listen to, I think it was Simon Sinek talk about Microsoft versus Apple, the Zune versus the iPod. And it was really interesting how like Microsoft's Zune was above and beyond, better technology, better everything inside it, better hardware, but they didn't understand the market and what people actually wanted. They just created something to compete with someone, and they never really figured out how to market it, because they were more focused on going after their competition than they were actually figuring out like, why do people want to buy this? So it's a great lesson in failure, because you gotta learn and you got to adapt and move over there. One big thing that we're starting to figure out is who's buying the product. We're going to start to have some demographic shifts, and we're going to start working on, honing in that messaging, that branding to the people that are buying the product.
Yeah.
Now, you can't really figure that out up front, and that's something that, in December, I think we got a lot better idea of who's buying this. And I want you to know, if you're listening to this, you can have an idea up front, but that idea is you have to be nimble, you have to be flexible, you have to be willing to change. Because if you're not, chances of you nailing it out of the gates are about zero.
And that doesn't mean change every week, but it does mean that you can't be so stuck. You can't be Microsoft.
Well,
you can't be so stuck on the Zune that this is the thing. And I understand if you're under 30, you have no idea what we're talking about, but there actually was another choice besides the iPhone or the iPod.
Yeah.
Back then, believe it or not.
So one of the interesting things is someone in the supplement industry, we were looking at some data, and they started off and their marketing was at men, and it was men. And it was when they, up until a couple of years ago, they were 85% men buying the product, 15% women. Now it's 60-40 women buying the product. And what's interesting is like their ads have changed a little bit, but not significantly, which I think is pretty interesting. But I bet you in the next year or two, you're going to start to see more and more of their ads targeted specifically at women and not so much at men, because if they're smart, they're seeing, oh, wow, of our $400 million in sales, 60% is going to women. We better target the women and double down where we're successful.
Yeah.
So do that stuff. I mean, we had a big month of December. January's off to a raging good start. So hopefully in a couple of weeks when we do our business update, we got some more dope stuff to talk about.
Bingo. Anything else you want to talk? Any other like really good learnings or things to remember or even predictions for 2024?
I don't have any predictions for 2024, but the one thing I will
talk about Amazon. Are you happy with Amazon in December?
Amazon was good. I mean, again, that's a whole different discussion. We'll discuss Amazon in a couple weeks. I think there's a lot to unpack there, Matt, and particularly for people to understand why we haven't ramped up sales on Amazon. It's not by us not wanting to succeed on there, but we've had some issues with product, and it's hampered our ability until we can get everything reevaluated and back out there. So there's that. But I would say my biggest learning from the month of December from the business was I am incredibly impatient. I know I'm impatient. I know I want everything right now. Nobody else works at my pace. That's a generalization. I'm just saying what's on my mind. What I have learned though is if you are an entrepreneur, you need to sometimes step back and go am I overreacting? And I had a moment like that actually this last weekend. So technically it's a January business, but I had that moment. I luckily have awesome people like Matt and my dad be like, dude, just calm the fuck down. And that was incredibly important because I may have done something really dumb. I may have hindered our business growth. So I think that's really important and something that I really am honing in on from December of just calm down, don't overreact, don't circumvent stuff, just know what you're doing and put the left foot in front of the right and the right foot in front of the left, and good things are going to come.
Yep. Cool, man. Well, I will, in closing, we officially have our Facebook group going. It is the D.H.E tribe for dads, husband, entrepreneurs, although moms and women and anyone are welcome. Come check us out. We would love to have you join us. We talk about business. We talk about what we're talking about right now. We give tips and tricks. We lift people up. We also talk about just how to be better humans and be better parents and really enjoy this thing that we call life. So I would love to see you guys join us over there.
Stoked. Come join us. I am jacked to be a part of that group, and we are going to have a lot of fun with it. So until next time, take care, have fun, and reach out to us if you got any questions.
Adios. See ya.
Peace.